Live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, you're joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It is all about you. Welcome to the Ken Coleman Show. So excited to have you with us. We're going to get to your calls and your questions. 844-747-2577 is the number. It's there on the screen for you. And you can also engage with us in the chat box, if you will, the chat window right next to the video that you're watching right now. Put your questions in the chat, and a little bit later in the program, we're going to jump in there and talk with you. So 2 ways to get to us. If you've also got a more of a long-range question, you don't need a question right away, ask at kencoleman.com is the email to the show. I want to make that affordable to you. And then again, also on social media. We do get to social media questions from time to time. On Instagram at Ken Coleman and Twitter at Ken Coleman, our Facebook page, Ken Coleman Show. All right, so that's all the ways that you can dive into the conversation. But I want to get this thing started off with some really interesting information that some of you are going to have to think about and think hard about this year or in the coming years. What is the question? Why some Americans won't move even for a higher salary. So the question is, are you one of these people who will not move for a greater opportunity because of some psychological factors? New article here from NextGov, a new study, identifies powerful psychological factors that connect people to places. And those factors mean more than money. Mobility in the United States has fallen to record lows. In 1985, nearly 20% of Americans changed their residence within the preceding 12 months, but by 2018, fewer than 10% had. That's the lowest level since 1948 when the Census Bureau started actually tracking mobility. Now, there have been a wide range of explanations that certainly add up to this, and you would fall in some of these explanations as to why you won't move for opportunity. Economic crisis. So this is when the housing market will dip as it did back in 2007, 2008. And so people are locked into declining value homes. They're upside down. Huge differential in the housing prices. So you live in one area where your square footage costs way less than it does in the area that you would move to. Okay. And then we're also talking about how job opportunities have changed and have expanded. Primarily, we're talking about here the digital age has made certain jobs available in your area, and thus you wouldn't have to move. So that's contributing to it as well. And then rising student debt. Obviously, this is the same financial burden that your house would be if you're upside down. So this new study is from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and they dove into emotional and psychological factors, which is what I want to talk about. Emotional and psychological factors to see if people's attachment to their communities, and obviously the people living in the communities, if it affects their willingness and ability to move. Half of those in this survey, 47%, identify as very rooted. And so what they mean here in saying that they're rooted is we're in, we're all in. We're deeply rooted. And so their reasons for not moving are more psychological than economic. Proximity to family and friends and their involvement in the local community is keeping them rooted. Now, 15% identified as stuck, a little bit different than rooted, lacking the resources or ability to move. And they're more likely to live in cities and live relatively close to family members. So I found that interesting. So if you take those two categories together, the rooted and the stuck, it's more than 60%. Only 38% of the respondents said that they are mobile with the resources, ability, and inclination to make a move. So why do I share that with you? Here's the big point. People are more willing to sacrifice a desired future, meaningful work, higher income. They're willing to sacrifice that just to stay comfortable. To stay comfortable. And I have a real problem with that. And I challenge you on this. Now, let me say this. I challenge you if you're one of those people that know that there's something out there for you. You know what it is. You know how to get there. Or at least you know I'm going to have to be willing to be mobile. Willing to be mobile. And if I'm not willing to be mobile, then most likely the opportunity to do the work that I know I was created to do is not going to come to me. And so if that's you today, I'm challenging you on this. Challenging you big time. Because first of all, you're going to be okay. You're still going to be able to communicate and visit with friends and family. But I'm going to step on some toes today because some of you will not move because there are people that you are currently doing life with who are poo-pooing the move. They're going, I think that's risky. I don't think that's smart. I don't think that's safe. Are you sure? All these things. And it's because you deciding, or at least considering, to pull up roots and chase the dream makes them so uncomfortable because they're not chasing theirs. And they mean well. They love you. I'm not in any way trying to demonize these voices in your life. But you better have a filter to separate this is their opinion versus what my head and heart are aligned and telling me to do. So don't sacrifice your future for the comfortability of your roots. That's the thought. All right. We love, love, love our YouTube community and the ability to chat with you. So I am getting in right here on the chat room, and let's see what we've got. Nick B is going to start us off, and he says, I feel like I work harder than everyone else around me, but it seems like everyone else gets the credit and the praise. What should I do to be recognized more in my job? Now, this is an interesting question, Nick, because this is your feeling, and it's the way you worded it, and the reality is we don't have the facts. Now, you may feel like you have the facts, and if you have the facts, meaning you've talked to your leader about this, and you've run this up the flagpole, and your leader's confirming, you know what, you are working harder than everyone else. And we've not given you enough credit. We've not given you enough praise. Absent of that conversation and that reality, then let's make sure that you are dealing with your own reality properly. So you can have one reality in your head and it's not the reality. Your reality is not always the reality. Now, I'm just addressing this because this is real. You've got to make sure that you've got the big boy chops to kind of step up and go, this is what I'm feeling. Is this a fact or is this a feeling? Because your feelings aren't facts. Now, let's move on. What should I do to be recognized more at my job? I think there's a 3-part action step that you can take. 3 actions, and these are simple and easy for you to do. Number 1, get clear on your role. If you're clear on your role, you know what a win looks like. And you and your leader communicated on this, and it's very clear that if I do this and do this well, that's a win, then great, you're clear. That leads to, and that, by the way, this is huge. It's all about clarity. The second thing you need to do is, so that's knowing your role. The second thing you need to do is accept your role. It's an attitude thing. There is no future for me unless I win in the now. And I'm not sure you're winning in the now because it's not being acknowledged. Okay? So we got to figure out why you aren't being acknowledged. And it's not being confirmed that you're winning in the now, okay? And so this is, I've got to make sure I know my role. That's step 1. Step 2, I accept my role. That's an attitude issue. The third thing is maximize your role. Because you are, and you should be getting clear on what a win looks like, then what also needs to happen is that you need to make sure that you are maximizing your role. You're going above and beyond what is expected of you. So we know what a win looks like, but now they need to see you in all these other places, adding value in other places. That's what you need to do. Let's go to Josh, who says, my company does some things that I don't agree with, like treating people poorly, but it pays me well. Should I leave or confront my bosses about it? Well, I got to tell you here, Josh, I love this question because this shows me that you've got a great heart. But this has got to be handled the right way. What I'm about to tell you. I think you go to your leaders and you say, hey, I'm not comfortable with how this person has gotten treated, but I only know about it from these sources. And this is what you have to consider before you even bring it up. What are your sources? Or what are your sources? Where's that perspective coming from? And I'm fine with you taking a leader going, hey, I'm uneasy about this, but I don't want to gossip about this, so I'm coming to you as a leader. Do you feel the same thing? Am I getting all the facts? Let's see how the leader reacts to you taking it privately to them, not accusing them or the company, just saying, this is what I've heard. I've seen some of this. Do I have the full picture? It makes me uncomfortable. I just wanted to get clarity on this. And let's see how that conversation goes. If that conversation yields some question marks for you and you've got some red flags that pop up, then what I would tell you is we need to start looking for another place. But in the meantime, it pays you well. It's stability. Hang in there. And that's what I would do. All right, we're going to get back to the chat room a little bit later in the show. I want to pop in and out a couple times, so keep those questions going. I love it. I love it. Love it. Now, here's the deal. When you submit a question via the chat room there, make it very specific because what I'm not going to do in front of everybody is type you responses back and forth. We're not going to go back and forth. So give me the details. Give me a very clear question, and we'll get to that. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. I love the phone calls, so let's go. Jared's on the line in Portland, Oregon. Jared, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. Thanks so much for having me on the show. I listened to The Minimalist as well, and I was like, wait, is that Ken Coleman? So I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Good to have you today.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So the reason I'm calling is that I could really use your help on getting clear on what I want to do and pursuing next steps towards it. Just some quick background to give you some context into my situation. I'm 45. In my early days, I used to spend like a lot of days, like 25, 30 years ago, writing in cafes, poetry. At that time, I jumped around from job to job trying to find what I wanted to do. Went to college, got a BA in psychology, but I decided to pursue writing and music. And then someone handed me a book on copywriting in 2006, and I fell in love with both the art and the science of it. Fast forward about 10 years later, I worked with a lot of big name ad firms and brands, did like 200 plus projects. But after going out on my own in 2018, I kind of fell out of love with copywriting, and I needed a change. So I got into photography and made a switch in careers because a company hired me to do some freelance work for them. And I shot homes and interiors for about a year with them. And I really loved it. So I made the switch from copywriting to photography, but that freelance photography opportunity ended. And the past 2 years have really been a struggle just to make a living with photography. Yeah. Like my first year, I made 12 grand. This past year, I made
Ouch.
9 grand.
Ouch. Yeah.
I just went through a divorce. I used up my 6-month emergency fund and just worked. Now I'm working a warehouse job that's not paying a lot of my monthly expenses.
Yeah, let me ask you a quick question. Let me ask you this, and I want you to get to your question shortly. Hit me with what I can do to help the most. But what I want to do is I want to get clarity on when you made $12,000 and then $9,000. Were you working another job, or was that full-time freelance photography?
That was I might have made the mistake. I mean, I jumped in because I thought that initial opportunity was going to pay really well.
No, I understand. I understand why you did it and what you did, and that's okay. I want to know, were you doing anything else?
No, I wasn't.
Oh my gosh. That's like below the poverty level, 12,000 and 9,000. Okay. All right. So what's your question for me today?
Well, I mean, back up. I'm a Dave Ramsey fan, so the good news is I've been 100% debt-free for some time. I have a good chunk of money from a home, but I don't want to dip into that for monthly expenses. So now I just feel stuck on what I should do to bring in income that I need to pay my bills that won't drain me, and what I need to do next and how to find work that I truly love.
Well,
one thing I feel like I don't.
Well, you got two questions there. The first question is, what do you do to bring in income? And I would say anything and everything. Because we're in a situation now where we want to protect your nest egg, and we got to get your income up.
Right,
so I got to say kudos to you. You got the warehouse job. That's not the dream job, and you know what? That's fine. It's at least bringing in income and some stability. Yes or no?
Right. Yeah, and I'm trying to be grateful for that 100%.
And I think you are. So my question is, so that's the answer. We don't need to spend any more time on that. You do what you have to so you can do what you want to do, okay? That's a line from The Great Debaters. Great movie. Now, the issue is, do you want to continue to do photography? And if I could guarantee you in this moment that you would be successful as a photographer financially, because I think you've already seen some success in the art form of it, but if I could guarantee that you would do everything you needed to do financially as a photographer, would you say, Ken, that's it, show me the way? Or do you want to do something else? That's what we have to find out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm trying to get clarity on, because I'm one of those kind of people that I'm really good at a lot of things, and that's kind of like the blessing and the curse, right?
No, it's not. It's not a curse. Okay. It's not a curse. I'm cutting you off because you're a guy that's thinking too much.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not saying that to criticize you. I'm trying to wake you up, right? This is me reaching through the phone here, through the camera, grabbing you by the shoulders and go, Jared, stop.
Yeah.
Stop thinking and start feeling. You're a creative guy. Okay? That's the thread. Copywriting, any type of writing, poetry, all that kind of stuff. That's all creativity. You're a guy that needs to be creating, yes or no?
100%.
Yeah, right. So answer this question and stop thinking and let your heart answer, please. Here's the question, Jared. If I could wave my Ken Coleman Show pencil right here magically and give you a job, a career, a role where you knew you were going to be successful and you would not fail and it would allow you to create, what would you choose as a great adventure knowing I cannot fail and I get to try it out? What would you do?
I'd probably do something like travel photography.
Yeah.
I love traveling. I love
Okay. All right. So now we focus on that right there. And let's not feel like we're locking into that for 30 years. We're just trusting our heart right now, which is photography. Good news. You've done a lot of the work. So the stage that you're really in is, I think, you're in the get connected stage. I think you're already qualified. I think you're clear as stage one. I think you're qualified as stage two. Stage three is getting connected. I think you got to get connected really strategically and truly use the proximity principle, which you've heard me talk about. And I'm going to give you a copy of the book if you don't have it. Okay.
Oh yeah, I already got it.
Great. So here's the deal, bro. Who are those photographers? I give you the samples of the people. There's 5 archetypes of people in the book. So who is that professor in photography? Who is that peer that can just encourage you, whether in photography or not? Who is the professional that you look up to, or who are the multiple professionals that you can model your craft and your career, trajectory after? Who's the mentor that you need in your life to get you focused and keep you accountable? Who's the producer that could potentially hire you for a position where you are taking photos for them? So I think it's just a reset to go, hey, I know what to do financially. I know how to keep myself stable. If I got to up my game from the warehouse job to a better paying day job, that's fine. But I would do that.
Right.
And as you upgrade your day job, you get right back into photography. Now the $12,000 is extra money. Now the $12,000 or the $9,000, that goes back into the photography business. You don't have to live off of it. You live off the warehouse job or whatever else. And you get in a situation where you're constantly looking for opportunities that would allow you to travel and take pictures that will pay you what you need to make. Now, while you're looking for those and identifying those or doing what it takes to get connected and thus get an opportunity to interview for those jobs, then you need to also be taking pictures anywhere and everywhere locally and get fired up. Say, I'm going to make $15,000 in 2020 or $20,000 in 2020 taking pictures. And I'm going to start a Facebook page today, which is free. I'm going to open up an Instagram account today, which is free. I'm going to start putting my work out there. So you've got the book. I'm going to recommend one other book for you. You got my book, The Proximity Principle, so just do what I tell you to do. But I'm going to recommend another book, a book entitled Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. For creatives, I think it is an absolute must read. Go get it. It's a little teeny tiny book. I can read it in about 7 to 10 minutes. But it's just chock full of some very practical things you need to start doing to show your work. You just need momentum, man. That's it. And you just need to get connected. And momentum is actions. Connections are going to bring opportunities. That's why I wrote the proximity principle. Get around people that are doing what you want to do. And in places where what you want to do is happening. So that's photography, more specifically, travel photography. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Matthew, who's on the line in Lockport, Illinois. Matthew, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
How's it going today, Ken?
I am living the dream, Matthew. What's up?
That's awesome. Well, I am as well. Looking to make 2020 my year.
I love it.
I currently work in a sales job, which I love the company, love the people, love where I work. And I actually landed in the position as they were one of my vendors when I owned a business. I owned a business for about 10 years right out of college, and it just wasn't going the way I wanted. So my business partner and I decided to split up. Ended up in this sales job. Again, like where I'm at, like what like where I'm working, like the people I'm working with. My concern is I'm not necessarily in love with sales, A.
Right.
And B, with the company and the size it is, I'm not sure of what the upward mobility looks like, just because with my experience, it's, my goal to move up if possible. It's just I'm not sure that it's there currently.
Okay, great. So I think you got a lot of clarity here, but my question is, what do you want to move up to? Because you're in sales, and we know you don't want to keep doing sales. So what does move up look like? Paint a picture in the future for me where you go, oh, Ken, this is the ladder I want to be on, and I want to climb this direction. What is that?
So yeah, right now the next position would be sales manager, and
no, I want you to go further. No. You miss it. Go further, man. You just told the whole audience that you don't want to do sales. So my question is, what's the ladder look like for you?
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily want to be selling myself, but going back to my business, I actually was a sales manager in part of it because I actually hired reps or interns on college campuses to help sell. At the time was mainly
right. I get it. Apparel. Hold on, Matthew. I'm going to push you a little bit more.
All right.
What do you want your future? Take me 10 years down the line. What do you want to be doing? If I guaranteed this future, no risk.
That's why I'm on this call. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't have that clarity at the moment.
I know you don't, but I think you got an idea, and I want you to just give me a direction. If I could give you this tomorrow, no failure, not possible. You're going to win. What would you try?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
All right. Let's break it down, then. Here we go. It's fine.
All right.
It's fine. Most people can answer that because they'll take a shot. Let's just do the sweet spot exercise. All right. Let's look at what you do best. So if I ask you that, I ask everybody that knows you that. What does Matthew do best? What has he always done best? Comes easy to him. He's got the skill. People compliment you on this. Go. Give me the top 3 or 4.
Very analytical.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody has a question, I'll go to the nth degree to figure out the answer.
Okay, keep going.
And I love to dig into research.
Hold on. Time out. You went into passion, what you love to do most. I'm going to write it down, but you got to stay focused. This is an exercise, and folks following along at home, you're listening to a guy thinking too hard, okay? And some of you are the same way Matthew is, but he's brave, he's courageous, and because of that, he's going to get clear, all right? So here's the deal. Let's focus. I want only what you do best, not what you love to do. So if you start to hear, well, I like and I love, we'll get to that. I want to know what you do best. Top skills, talents, strengths, go. We know one is analytical. What else?
Research. I love research.
No, you said it again. Yeah, we know you love research, but we'll say that you're good at digging. Okay, you're analytical, and you're good at digging. What else?
I love to help people.
Well, you went to love
people
again.
Come to me.
Oh my gosh, you're killing me today. I don't want to know what you love. I want to know what people compliment you on. What are you really good at doing?
Problem solving.
Boom! There we go. All right, let's just stop there because honest to goodness, I'm having fun with you, but you got to follow the process. All right?
Absolutely.
Because we always start with what you do best because that's easier for people to identify. Passion's scary, so that's why I say what you love to do most to try to trigger some memories, some feelings. Okay? So we know that what you do best is you're really good at analyzing things. You're good at digging. So I really see those two things working together, right? You dig into stuff and then you analyze what you find. You following me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then,
absolutely. And
then you problem solve based on all that analysis. So do you see how those things are just like bing, bing, bing? They really fit.
Yeah, and it's all starting to make a little more sense here.
Here we go. Now let's go over to what you love to do. We already wrote down you love research. That's on both lists. That's fine. That's natural because, folks, we as human beings don't like to do things we suck at. We just don't. except for golf for me. I like playing golf, and I suck at it, but that's a different deal. There's always bourbon and a cigar involved. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, exactly. All right. So what do you love to do? When you think of these 3 questions, I want you to think of passion, because you said you want to help people. So there's 3 questions that help people begin to dig into what makes their heart come alive. Who do I most want to help? What problem do I most want to solve? What solution do I most want to provide? What does that bring to top of mind?
In regards to a position?
Yeah,
or,
no. Stop analyzing. Just answer my questions. What makes you come alive when you're engaged in this kind of work? Or you're always fired up about solving this particular people problem or process problem or a thing. You understand what I'm saying? What do you most want to solve? What problems do you get fired up about solving? Give me something.
I'm just giving a current example of my current job. When somebody can't figure something out and it's brought to me by, another coworker or a manager, and it's just something that somebody hasn't been able to figure out, and it's tough, requires a lot of work, requires a lot of research. I just feel fulfilled when I'm able to take that project and complete it.
Okay. Are those generally people problems or process problems?
They're typically people problems.
Exactly. You starting to see something here? You want to help people. Who do you most want to help? What problems do you most get excited about solving? What solutions do you get excited about providing? Are they people-oriented? Are they systems-oriented? Are they things? You see where we're going here. You're not into technology problems. You don't want to solve technology problems. You like solving people and organizational problems, yes or no?
That is correct.
So if you are listening to yourself, and I'm writing down everything right here on my moleskin that you just gave us, you're going to use your top talents of being analytical, of diving into problems, researching them, and then coming up with a solution. And you want to use those talents to solve people problems in organizations. Is that true or false?
That is true.
Oh, look at that. That's the sweet spot exercise. Now, what are all the different ways, positions, roles that you could do that every day, Matthew? You don't have to answer that right now, but you can see all of them.
Yeah, that's where I'm trying to get some clarity.
Yeah, but don't you have it right now?
In regards to an actual position, that's
Stop
the problem,
thinking about actual positions. Stop. I'm saying, do you see what your role is based on that? Now that we just described that, I just did a working purpose sentence for you, and you went, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Here's my question. If you're going to pick one word to describe your role based on that sweet spot, what's one word that would describe you if you were doing this all day, every day? Your work was around this role. What would make you feel alive? Describe that role. One word.
Oh, I'm having trouble here. I'm not going to lie.
Give me a word, man.
Oh, man, you're killing me.
I'm going to give you a word. I'm going to give you a word
right,
just to get you started. Problem solver. Okay? Problem solver. Solution finder. I don't care. Do you see the exercise?
Solution.
See, you like solution finder. Okay, then. So I'm going to tell you something, Matthew. I'm having some fun with you. Went a little long with you, but I'm going to tell you something. You are locked up in your head. You're too busy worried about the title so that you can go to LinkedIn as soon as this phone call is over. Stop! Stop that nonsense, folks. You have got to get the sweet spot figured out, and you've got to focus on the role within the sweet spot. There are multiple jobs, multiple positions, multiple career paths that you can take. And so when you understand that, you stop thinking so much and you start feeling and going, hey, what do I want to do all day, every day? What's that look like? What would make me feel alive when I'm engaged in this kind of work? Matthew's there. He's there. He's just too busy thinking. Start feeling a little bit more. That's what we're talking about here. That's why I don't talk about passion only. That's why I don't talk about talent only. I talk about the sweet spot, the intersection of what you do best, talent, and what you love to do most, passion. That's where we find tremendous meaning and joy. So I would never say follow your passion. No. I wouldn't say follow your talent. No. Get in your sweet spot. Find that unique role. Describe it. He just did. Now listen, he can go back and come up with a million different ways to say solution guy. You know, he could. But it resonated with him. But you have got to be okay thinking like you're writing with pencil. Why do I write with pencil? Because I can write something down on this moleskin right here. If I don't like the way it looks, like the way it sounds, I'll erase it. I'll erase it. I don't have to stay there. I can fix it. So that's what you got to do. Stop thinking so hard. Stop thinking so hard. Now, a little bit earlier, we were talking to Jared, and Jared was a guy who really needed to be in stage 3, get connected. Okay, and so we talked about that yesterday, walking through the 7 stages to meaningful work. Stage 1, get clear. This is where you figure out what you do best, what you love to do most. It's the sweet spot exercise we just walked through with Matthew. That leads to stage 2. Once I'm clear on what I want to do, why I want to do it, where I want to do it, and how I can get there, now I'm moving into stage 2, which is get qualified. This is, what do I need to learn? What experience do I need to get so that I'm now qualified and I can get in? I can get in the industry, the field. I can get in. I'm now ready. And so while we're getting qualified, we talked about stage 3 yesterday, which is getting connected. Get connected. And that's about using the proximity principle, which says in order to do what I want to do, I've got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. And now that gets us to a point where we're connected and opportunities are coming to us instead of us just sitting around going, well, I hope somebody notices me. When we use the proximity principle, opportunities find you. So if you're new to the show, you want to learn more about it, wrote a best-selling book, The Proximity Principle. You can get it at kencoleman.com. Easy read, 5 people, 5 places that I unveil in the book, that if you're around these people and in these places, you learn what you need to learn, you get to do what you want to do, and you get to keep connecting, which takes you up, keeps you moving up that ladder, if you will, climbing that mountain to that dream job, meaningful work. And you can get that at kencoleman.com. And again, easy stuff. We're going to walk you through practices in the back section. But let's talk about stage 4. So what do I do now that I'm clear, stage 1? I'm qualified, stage 2. I'm connected, stage 3. Stage 4, get started. Duh, right? Get started. Are you kidding me? Ken, seriously? Yeah, because most people, sadly, will spend a large portion of their life in the starting blocks because of fear and doubt. Let's throw another one in there, pride. Let me break this down. Getting started is so important because the first step in any journey is always the most important step. It's always the most important step. And I've got to get out there and put myself out there. But fear of failure, fear of what others will say, fear that it's too late to get started, fear that I don't have what it takes. Okay, that rears its ugly head. Doubt that I can actually pull it off. Doubt that anybody will see what I see about myself. Doubt that there is a customer out there who actually buy what I think I want to sell. And then pride. I don't want to ask for help. I just feel weird asking for help. That's your pride. So fear, doubt, and pride will keep you in the starting block. And what you have to do is go, those are all liars. The voice of fear, the voice of doubt, the voice of pride is a lie. And you hear that voice, you go, wait a second. If it's a lie, then what's the truth? It's the opposite of the lie. And then you just be a big boy and big girl and start walking ahead. Step out of that boat. That first step, yes, it's scary. I get it. And there, you know what? It's not going to be a pretty step. But the reality is, it is a step. And once you step out, you get some forward motion. And behind that, the second step, then the third step, and then the fourth step. So that's stage 4. Get started. Get started. 844-747-2577 is the phone number to jump in. Let's go to Edgar, who's on the line in Rochester, New York. Edgar, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
I'm living the dream, Edgar. What's going on today?
Well, I've been listening, watching your video.
Edgar, let's try that again. You're breaking up really bad. Let's see if we can get that phone close to your mouth and see how that goes. Go ahead. All right, tell you what we're going to do. We got a real bad connection. Edgar, we'll work with you, and we'll get you on a show here. But let's go back to the chat room. This is from Corey. He says, hey, Ken, I'm about to graduate high school, and my parents are pushing me to go to college and get a business degree. I'm a musician, and I have no interest in business. What should I do? Yay! I'm so happy that Corey that you're watching, you submitted this. Oh my gosh. Okay, now here's the deal. Mom and dad know you're a musician. This is not a surprise. They know you love it, okay? They probably know you have no interest in business, but here's what's going on. Mom and dad want you to go to college. That's their first thing they want. They just want you to go to college. Why? Because your mom and dad have been influenced by our culture. They're not bad people. Understand that mom and dad have a pair of glasses on that has been completely colored by society, which has told us for over half a century now, 70, 80 years, has been telling us that the only way to success, or certainly the best surefire way to success, is through college. And so they go, well, everybody else is going to college. We don't want Corey to not go to college. We don't want people to think that we raised a loser. Now, they never say this, but that's what they think. That's a fact. And so understand, Corey, that what's going on is they've got some fear, and they're giving you advice based on their fears. All right, that's number one. Number two, they think the business degree, because of that fear, they think, well, the business thing is a lot safer, and there's a whole lot more jobs that Corey could get if he has the business degree. That's what they think. And the musician route, they know that's tough. They know it's a tough world, and it is. So that's what you need to know their context, so you know they're not against you. They're actually for you, even though their advice feels like they're against you. That's really important that you get that. Now, with that being said, your approach to them has to be very respectful and very clear. You need to be respectful, tell them how you feel, but also show them a plan. Mom and dad, I don't want to go to college. I don't want to get a business degree. I want to be a musician, but I know that that's scary because of this, and this. It's going to take me a while. So I've got a plan to get a full-time job. I'm going to pay for all my stuff. I'm not going to be playing video games in the basement and just trying to gig on Thursday and Friday nights or whatever it is. I've got a plan. I'm going to work the proximity principle, show them the book. I'm going to work it. It's going to take me a long time, but I'm young. I don't have a lot of expenses, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I need your support because I want to do music, and I'm going to be fulfilled, and that's what I was put on this earth to do. I do have a plan. I can walk you through the plan. I'll answer questions about the plan, but you better have a plan and show them how you're going to use the proximity principle and what you're going to do in the meantime until you can get to a point where you're self-sustaining by being a professional musician, whatever that is. So that's how you do that. But I love the question. And by the way, if you're a parent and you're listening to this, put yourself in Corey's parents' shoes. Are you doing this to your kid? Are you willing to have that conversation with them? And if you're a young person and you need to have that conversation, that right there is the method. That's how you do it. Because then when you can get mom and dad feeling like, hey, you got a plan, and they're not scared, then they're not going to put all this pressure on you. All right. Thank you so much for being with us. Our time is almost up, but before I let you go, you matter, and you do have what it takes. Thanks for joining this important conversation. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.